Did your older brothers make sure that the younger brothers were looking pretty neat? Okay. My name is Naima Olugbala, and Naima means warm and pleasant and peaceful at heart. Olugbala means one who serves.
Moja and Billy Tatu, we're African people.
If there ever was a ministry that's been given to someone, my ministry is to work with children and to help try to promote a strong sense of self so that every child that I meet will be able to stand up, hold their head up proudly and say that I'm an African American. Yes, my ancestors were slaves, but prior to that I had ancestors that were great kings and queens, that did great things, that brought science to the world. Those are the kinds of young people that I want to leave behind. The need for alternative education is clearly based on the fact that we have a multi-ethnic society. We have children of all different backgrounds that need to be taught in the most efficient and effective way possible. Sometimes that effectiveness comes by way of using culture to implement the lesson.
Self-determination for black people now. By any means necessary is my vow. My name is Malcolm X.
All right. Thank you,
She is completely dedicated to black people. And her vision is one of a liberated race of people. And she connected to that as a vision, and it is what really drives her. And I don't think that will ever change.
Okay. And you're paying your tuition for this month. You want to pay your tuition for next month as well?
Well, I'm just going to deal with 1 month at a time.
Okay. We have a lot of parents that periodically can't pay for whatever the reason, or they pay late. If you have 50 families, you're really lucky if you can get 50% of that, 25 families, to pay on time and to be caught up on a monthly basis. You're doing really good.
Bye. Goodbye.
Well, let's deal with a new invoicing system.
And it's working okay. It's working fine. Right now, very honestly, we did not complete our payroll for October.
For October.
For the entire staff.
For the entire staff.
So,
she's really defying the odds. Her commitment is such that I don't know anyone else that I can say will make a commitment the way she has. On a month-to-month basis, she really doesn't know if she herself will receive a salary. Obviously, the expenses of the school come first. The salary of the staff comes first. And obviously, if there's no money left over after those responsibilities and priorities are taken care of, then obviously she has to forego her compensation. And so, I mean, she really makes a sacrifice.
this is part of the Kikuyu class, and each of them have something they want to come out. We're going to start with you, Terrell. Walk right up here. Thank you.
In 1963, I won the Nobel Peace Prize for working to change unfair laws. My name is Martin Luther King.
Thank you. In order to bring about a more self-aware young person today, you have to start giving them a sense, a strong sense of who they are, who their ancestors are, what their ancestors have done. Because if you don't have or can't point to a few heroes or people that have brought some major importance to this society that we're in, that looks like you, that makes you feel proud of yourself, then you're not going to feel like you have anything that's been contributed to this society. If you don't have anything that you've contributed to the society, why should you preserve the society? Why not destroy it? Why not burn it up? Why not tear it down? Why not litter it up? Why not graffiti it up? If you've brought absolutely nothing as a people, then where's your importance? For the first 19 years of my life, I was Helen Forte. Helen Forte was a young girl that was trying to express herself, trying to grow, trying to develop. I'd gone through a period of time when I really didn't like myself. I really didn't like who I was. I went through, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. I didn't want to be black. I didn't want to be black.
6 days of rioting in a Negro section of Los Angeles left behind scenes reminiscent of war-torn cities.
Early 1965, a lot of things were happening. People of all walks of life was rebelling. People were changing. I was becoming a whole and an older person. So my life began to be more involved and more political. And as it began to be more political, I saw that I wanted to identify with things that I had not identified with earlier. I attended UC Berkeley in the 60s, and it was a real wild time. There were religious protests, political protests, cultural protests, every nationality you can think of. I mean, everybody was protesting. So it opened up my view, my worldview a little bit. While I was at Berkeley, working with the BSU, Black Student Union, I met the Black Panther Party, and they were having a recruiting going on for the breakfast program that they served. They served breakfast to children in East Oakland.
Black is beautiful, free to it, let our voice free to it.
It's probably the time I also became even more in tune with Malcolm X.
Human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
The thing that he talked about was self-reliance and self-determination, and taking the position of doing what needed to be done on yourself and not waiting for someone else to do it for you. Malcolm always said, if you wait for someone to do something, do something for you, it'll never be done. Or it may never be done the way you want it to be done. So part of that, I think, is why, or how, or maybe even the reason I've stayed in education on this level as long as I have, because I believe that if something is going to happen in terms of a change, then I need to do it myself. After I left Berkeley, and we went to Tanzania, and the reason was really so that we could get involved with the country, and that I could get involved with the educational process that was going on there. It was like going back home. It was like going to our roots, rediscovering who we were. When we came back to California, there was a tutorial program that was already going on that my husband and I had worked with before leaving Southern California. So we re-involved ourselves with that, got involved with it, and began to talk around and sort of hash around a school.
My parents and the other people started Omowale in 1971. And from what I can remember, I was 6 years old at the time, so I don't know this for sure, but I've heard from most people that a report came out, and it basically said a large percentage, it might have even been half, of the high school students graduating at that time, they weren't able to read or write, do simple math. By the way, these are to African-American children. And my parents, along with 4 or 5 other parents, were determined not to have the same thing happen to their children. So it basically started as a tutorial program after school, working with students in the community, and it developed into Omowale Ujamaa, children coming home to familyhood.
Getting started wasn't easy. Keeping the program going was very difficult. We did a lot of moving around, trying to find a place that we could really begin to grow into. In 1978, most of the core group left, everybody but myself, and it was just a hard situation. I mean, it was, what do you do? Where do you go? Who do you turn to when you're totally despondent and you don't know what to do? There's no one to turn to, because people are turning to you. They're asking you, Naima, how are we going to keep the lights on? Naima, how are we going to get paid? Naima, what are we going to do about enrollment? Naima, what are we going to do about getting this? There really wasn't any time for me to do anything else but just keep believing. And I guess I couldn't see giving up. I guess that's the bottom line for me. I just couldn't see giving up. Spirituality is very important to me. I need to know that I can worship, that I can feel strong in my worshiping, and then I can go back and I can deal with whether or not I have enough money to pay all my bills, whether or not I can pay my staff. And I also need to know that I can keep saying to myself Naima, this is a righteous cause that you're working for. This is something that is deserving. This is good. This is not a bad thing. It's not only just not a bad thing, it's a thing that the angels certainly would bless you for. So you've got to continue to do it no matter how hard it is. And this is where I get the strength to do that. Keep coming back on Monday and feeling fulfilled.
Now, I know it's a two-step problem, but I want you to work it out the best way you can. Let's go.
As long as Naima lives, the school will live. And I think in her son, Karume, she has really planted the seed so that he will continue her work. The success of Omowale students, I think, is best measured by the fact that they are students who are able to function as healthy individuals in the larger society, which means that they will make a way for themselves, and I think even more importantly, that they have the value of giving back to their community. So it's like you train one, you're really training a cadre of African Americans who will participate in the struggle of our community.
Harambe means let's all pull together. What does it mean again? Let's all pull together!
One of the things that I say to my staff, and I remind myself every day, God bless strugglers. And I believe that. So I believe that as we struggle, we're going to be blessed. And that in the end, we're going to provide an educational process that's a good process for more children than we've even touched base.